Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 31 Media podcast. My name is Vaishnavi Nashte. I'm the marketing and PR manager here at 31 Media. Today, we have Nithya Raman on the 31 Media podcast. She has been in the software quality domain for close to 2 decades now. She joined EY Global Delivery Services in 2013, and after being a part of the organization for over 11 years, today she works as a quality assurance leader. It was under her leadership that EY won three different awards at 2023 North America Testing Awards. They won the best use of technology in a project, an award for the diversity and inclusion, and they also bagged the overall winner title. That's amazing, Nitya. I mean, we're so glad to have you on the 31 Media podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, and thank you, Vaishnavi, for that great introduction. It is indeed a great pleasure to be part of this podcast, and shoot your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited because I have so many people, like people always text us like, okay, what's the exact, what are some tips? And obviously having like a winner on the podcast is quite beneficial. So thank you again. So my first
Sure.
question to you is, your project was recognized for the best use of technology. Can you provide like some insights into what the project was that led to the selection and how exactly did you build like the overall entry for it?
Sure, great question. So as I answer that, I couldn't help but recall that in our first year of participation, which was in 2022, we emerged as a runner-up in the same category, which is the best use of technology in a project, and we were adjudged as the highly commended project.
Yeah.
And the very next year, which is in 2023, we became the winner in the very same category. So it's quite a nostalgic moment.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I would say the our primary consideration towards selecting the project was to pick the candidate which really stood apart in terms of how we exploited the power of technology at different levels to address the multiple facets of the business problem at hand. The candidate in question is one of the pivotal products that powers some of our offerings on managed services space, which fit our considerations quite well. And so, really, coming to the considerations itself, I would broadly classify them into three buckets. One, from a business point of view,
Hmm.
this particular product from a business point of view, it was towards optimizing the service that we deliver to the clients in helping them meet statutory compliance, and this involved building a combination of robust tech tools addressing the data acquisition, management, processing, and the data governance aspects.
Hmm.
Now, coming from an engineering standpoint, our approach was centered around how we leverage the right technology strategy,
Hmm.
DevOps approach, and all the tools that are needed to bring together the teams and enabling
Hmm.
them to deliver high quality through continuous deployment, continuous integration, and continuous deployment in a scaled agile model.
Yeah.
Thirdly, from a quality or a QA standpoint, using technology as an enabler to drive efficiencies, particularly, let's say, like using our proprietary robust test automation platform,
Hmm.
supported by a strong quality approach and test strategy, binding the elements of the people, process, and technology. So today, as we speak, we are augmenting this further uh, with our vision to bring AI towards gaining more efficiencies across the whole engineering value chain. So those were
Hmm.
the broader considerations that drove our decision towards making that particular
Yeah.
category nomination. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And do you think that there were like certain key tips or certain keys that you actually integrated into your entry that led to the win at all? Like, because obviously the project itself plays like a very important part and the impact that you're having through that project. But for our listeners out there today, like, do you think there are some key tips that you can provide them that you have yourself, built
Mhm.
to like sort of build the entry in itself?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll just generalize the question a bit more to see what are some of the do's and don'ts that, in terms of the submission perspective that
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at. I would say that, first of all, you need to understand what guidelines or the criteria each of those categories are looking for, right? So judges are looking for some specific pointers or specific footprints in each of those categories. So I think you need to really keep those in mind.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we might get preoccupied with what our use case is all about, but at times
Mm.
it is about matching that use case to what the criteria is looking for. So I think that
Yeah.
that would be my primary recommendation. And secondly, from the perspective of quality, right, the definition of quality is different to different people, right? It might
Mm.
sound different to you, it might sound different to me, but I would say that approach quality adoption in a holistic way and strategizing how quality can enable better outcomes in the entire value chain. So if that
Mm.
thought process is brought into your use case, then you're not
Yeah.
looking at quality from a testing centric perspective. You're looking at it holistically.
Mm.
So when I'm speaking about that recommendation, a quote, an all-time favorite quote for me from Henry Ford comes to my mind. He
Mm.
went on to say, quality is doing things right when no one is looking, right? So
Mm.
our teams are enabled to do things right. Achieving quality becomes a second nature or a natural consequence, right? It's not about demonstrating compliance, but it serves a purpose much beyond that. So I think that must be our approach to inculcating a quality mindset. And if that reflects in your piece of work, in your nomination, I think that will really make your case
Yeah.
quite different. And I would also say that you should try and have diverse use cases. Try
Okay.
not to have the same kind of submissions for the different categories. For example, we
Right.
might tend to reuse the content across different categories, but as long as you are keeping the category requirements in mind and making the job of the
Mm.
judges easier, I think those tips is what I would share in terms of
Yeah.
making a sound foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. I think these are obviously like very useful tips for our listeners out there. I'm curious, like, how did you come to know about these testing awards in general, and what made you like participate in them, and how have you seen like the impact being on your team after winning itself?
Oh, sure. How did I come to know about the awards? Maybe it was in 2022. As part of our quality strategy for
Mm.
2022, we wanted to explore external forums, and we genuinely wanted to make a footprint in the external forums as well. And that's a perfect opportunity for us to assess ourselves with the peers in the industry. So that was our primary
Mm.
motivation behind that. With the growing maturity of our quality practices, I believe that we were at the right juncture in 2022 where we could venture into some of these forums, and we were exploring several. And one of those important forums that came to our mind was the North America Test Awards Forum and also the European Test Awards Forum.
Yep.
So, like I said, this is our second year of participation and from what I could see, these forums provide a great platform for quality professionals and
Mm.
like-minded people to come together, collaborate, network, share, learn, and I think that's greatly beneficial not just for the self but also for the larger community of quality professionals. And I think it's beyond that, it's also a great place to bring some visibility into the quality brand that people have established for themselves within the organization. So how do you make it more pronounced? How do you make it more visible for external
Yeah.
people and the industry as well? So I think platforms like these are quite beneficial in that sense. So I think it's very important for quality pioneers and professionals to come together and collaborate through these
Mm.
wonderful platforms, and more importantly, celebrate their accomplishments.
Mm.
It's an opportunity also to reflect upon how important their role is in the entire business and the product value chain.
Yeah.
So those are my considerations.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. And also being somebody who's won like the overall winner title as well, if there are viewers out there who are who are trying to enter their company into the awards, like what are some key tips that you'll provide them to
Sure.
basically enter? Yeah.
Yeah. As the overall winner title, I mean, the title win was certainly a great recognition for us.
Yeah.
Certainly a bigger milestone for us in 2023 as with this particular achievement. And I think this is a true testament to the wonderful collaboration of our business teams and the technology teams, our product engineering and quality teams, and even the enablement functions which work hand in hand with us. So
Mm.
apart from all of that, I think there were also a variety of factors which may have positively influenced our remarkable success last year. Um, One was certainly the diversity of the use cases that we had, right? So
Yeah.
I recall that we participated in about five categories: best use of technology, best agile project,
Mm.
um, best use of testing in a finance sector and the NGO sector, as well as a diversity and inclusion use case. And
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so we saw that each of them were very diverse and each of them were very unique in terms of the problem context, the
Mm-hmm.
challenges, as well as the solution approach itself.
Right.
So I think if you have a diverse spread, it will certainly, help you get an edge. And secondly, like I highlighted before, our approach towards quality across these use cases were not just centered around testing. So we went about explaining what's our quality culture, how did we use a
Mm.
multi-pronged approach to kind of bring people, process, and technology together.
Mm-hmm.
And we brought out the element of quality in a way that everything that we do that results in or culminates in creating an exceptional client experience. So that's what is quality is all about. And I think those aspects we brought out quite strongly in those nominations. And additionally, I must mention that the work that we do at EY
Mm-hmm.
to support diversity, equity, and inclusion in workplace, and how we even went about leveraging technology to further that DE&I agenda to the next level,
Yeah.
truly bringing inclusion in its truest sense to our team meetings and all of that. I think all those use cases boosted up our candidature is what I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such an interesting point to mention about how technology gets used into these aspects as well. And I feel like, the community that we bring together at the award ceremony, that's like an excellent platform for people to sort of exchange that kind of information, get to know about how technology is getting used in different areas as well. So that's a fantastic point that you mentioned over there.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for being on the podcast today. That's it from my end. But everybody, I think, like the award entries, they close on 2nd of October. So make sure that you've put in your entries before that. And thank you again, Nithya, for being on the 31 Media podcast.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi, for giving me the opportunity as well to reflect upon this wonderful title and recognition. And good luck, everybody, to and stay motivated. And I hope everyone participates in this event.
Yeah. Thank you, Nithya.